Entei. I've taught you for 3 years, instructing you in my poison clan techniques.
Yes.
I must tell you that the clan is a danger to the public. We live here in seclusion, so we can talk about the poison clan.
There once was a teacher, a dying man of implausible talent, who was the leader of a secret society. And he recanted a tale, a seemingly far-fetched tale, to his remaining disciple. The master began his curious yarn with a rather simple beginning. I had 5 pupils, he said, each with a deadly design, trained in a style based on a unique venom of the poison clan. Number 1 was the centipede. His lightning strikes so fast it appeared he possessed multiple legs and arms. Number 2 practiced the snake style, whose hands struck like snake fangs. Number 3 was the scorpion. His style resembled the scorpion pincers whose kicks, like a scorpion, can paralyze or kill. Later, students 4 and 5 came into the fold. Number 4 had a nimble style. He's fast and agile and can walk on walls like a lizard. Number 5 was the toad, who possessed incredible strength and immune to almost any weapon. The remaining disciple's task was simple. He had learned the main techniques of each of the 5 styles as there was little time. Now, the time has run out. His master's last wish? For the student to go forth into the martial world and check on his former pupils, to see if they are using their skills for evil. And if they are, he must find a way to eliminate them. And from that day forth, a cinema cult classic emerged from a gothic-strewn set of a Shaw Brothers movie town studio in which the catchphrase, "Poison Clan rocks the world," would reverberate across the planet. The film was the brainchild of the godfather of Hong Kong cinema, Chang Che. Chang had a fondness in fashioning talented ensembles over the course of his career. He began with screen idols Jimmy Wang Yu and Lo Lei. Then came his Iron Triangle crew of David Jiang and Ti Lung. Later, we had Chen Quan Tai, Alexander Fu Sheng, and Chi Kwun Chun. Lastly, it was a group of former stuntmen known collectively as the Venoms Mob. It all began in the summer of '74 when Chang relocated his base of operations from Shaw to Taiwan for 2 years. He could only take a handful of Movietown's finest with him, so he had to rely on local talent to fill the void. 3 that were standouts were from the Fu Sing Opera School in Taipei. Their names, Lu Fong, Kwok Choi, and Jiang Seng. Initially used as stuntmen or in filler roles, each of the 3 were recognized for their on-screen abilities, and Chang started providing them with larger roles. While shooting Marco Polo, Chang and his longtime martial arts collaborator, La Garlong, went their separate ways. So the filmmaker was now in need of his favorite Taiwanese stuntmen more than ever. The film Shaolin Temple was a turning point in the formation of the Poison Clan as Wai Pei and newcomer Lo Mang joined the crew. Their next projects were The Brave Archer Part 1 and Chinatown Kid. It was this latter film which introduced the world to another Taiwanese actor, Sun Qian, who had co-star billing with Shaw top actor Fu Sheng. Sun was the final piece of the puzzle which set in motion the film that ultimately spawned not merely a series of movies, but the Venoms brand of Kung Fu. As filmmaking goes, the process is a collaborative effort, and so the concept and execution would be a group endeavor. But where did this initial spark for the Five Venoms, aka Voodoo, originate? According to popular law, one of the most unfavorable days in ancient China was the 5th day of the 5th month, according to the lunar calendar. It was referred to as Double Fifth and marked the beginning of summer, which by mid-season meant dangerous animals and insects, spread of infectious diseases, even the appearance of evil spirits. Voodoo refers to the 5 venomous animals or insects that people wish to avoid. Some historical sources suggest these poisons as the centipede, toad, snake, scorpion, and spider. Other references have the lizard, sometimes referred to as a gecko, replacing the spider. Nowadays, the 5th day of the 5th month is celebrated as the popular Dragon Boat Festival, which commemorates the life and suicide of a famous poet and minister from the Warring States period. It's been written that director Chang Cheh drew his initial inspiration for his film from the annual Dragon Boat Festival. He communicated his ideas to screenwriter Ni Guang, who was tasked to bring the 5 Venoms to life. Joining the pre-planning crew was the Wing Chun specialist Lung Ting, who suggested his own designs for the characters. The screenplay evolved from a standard chop-socky type motion picture into a multi-layered narrative of ambiguity, plot twists, and emotionally effective characters. Lung brought to the table some unique ideas, devising the fighting styles for each character, but lacked the experience to choreograph them for the director. Now that Lau is making his own films for Shaw, and Chang could no longer use him at the studio for directing the kung fu action, Chang had been utilizing Li Kai-ting and Robert Tai. But Li exited the Chang camp after Chinatown Kid, which opened the door for Venom's Lu Fang to work behind the scenes. Shooting wrapped in May of '78, and the 5 Venoms were officially unleashed on an unsuspecting audience that August. An exotic tale of brotherhood, mysticism, and murder.
People have told me you have ways of killing without leaving a mark.
The film was one of Chang's better rounded movies of his later career. Without big names like Ti Lung or Fu Sheng, local viewers, however, did not necessarily embrace the Taiwanese players as their own. 5 Venom's box office receipts placed the film at number 13 for the year. Still respectable, but beaten out by Lau's 36 Chamber of Shaolin and Heroes of the East.
I didn't expect 3.
At the time, Chang was 55 and wasn't sure of the future.
All of these years, I've tried to cure myself.
Once the studio's top director, the Chang troupe was still intact when they went to Taiwan to shoot 5 Shaolin Masters. Afterward, David Zhang, Ti Lung, Fu Sheng, they all started to drift apart, and the troupe began to disintegrate. He contemplated possible retirement as the film industry had to move on, with the new generation displacing the old one. He declared that if he could make a comeback within the next 5 years, he would postpone his retirement. And the Venoms proved to be just what this director needed. Like the superhero groups, the Avengers or the X-Men, each Venom brought a unique talent to the table, but as a unit, they were truly formidable. While none of the individual actors may have been leading man quality, strength was in their numbers. And now officially marketed as the Venoms, they would become one of the studio's hottest commodities. Kwok Choi took center stage in most of the Venoms movies, even though there wasn't a set lead. Known as the King of Tumbling, the Taiwanese actor was a well-trained acrobat with a wide range of skills from hand-to-hand combat, acrobatic stunts, and a variety of weapons, especially the staff or pole. Coming from a family of opera performers, he joined the opera troupe as a teen and spent the next several years honing the tricks of the trade. He joined Chang Cheh on the films Boxer Rebellion and The Fantastic Magic Baby, before getting his first role of substance in Marco Polo. Chang favored Kwok early on and once said, "In the past, when I read wuxia fiction, a writer often described someone as a talent born for practicing kung fu. I didn't think about it much at that time, but now I know what it means. Kwok Choi was born for practicing kung fu." One of Kwok's opera teammates was Zheng Sheng. Coming from a poor background, he really had no choice in joining the opera troupe. Sheng had remarkable gymnastic skills and a flair with double weapons. Small in stature, he did not convey an imposing threat, but like Shaw star David Zhang, Sheng's fragile appearance was deceiving as he beguiled his viewers with his impish characters and sheer athleticism. Sheng was very versatile, and it showed with his work behind the scenes as director and martial arts choreographer. Paired up with Kwok and Lu Fong, the opera trio would produce some of the most dazzling choreographic sequences in the Shaw library. Their next project, Invincible Shaolin, featured all 6 major players again in a contest of North versus South Shaolin. While some critics of the Five Venoms lamented its plot-heavy approach, this follow-up piece was a balanced mixture of tragedy, camaraderie, bloodshed, and rousing fight sequences. And it is here where the viewers truly get a good dose of what the Venoms are capable of. The unorthodox training techniques used by the old masters is not only instructive but visually enthralling. Especially of note is Lo Mang's grueling isometrics with the resistant bands. There's no CG or steroids here. Lo Mang's rock-hard physique is on full display, showing the results of years of traditional kung fu training. Another aspect that makes this endearing among other Venom movies is that each character is heroic. Normally cast as the villain, Lu Fong gets his time in the sun as he joins the good guys, though he still manages to slip in his smug replies and overconfident glares.
Well, and me too. I'm hot.
Of course, the real villain is General Fu, played by Venom's scoundrel supreme, Johnny Wang Lung Wei, who manipulates the North and Southern fighters into battle between the schools.
And the general here will act as umpire.
Lung Ting returned for this project. He had worked with the crew earlier on Heaven and Hell and Life Gamble, both prior to the Five Venoms, and for the initial shoot on the 10 Tigers, which was filming in the spring of '78. Rumor goes Lung previously butted heads with Lo Mang on the Five Venoms set, and according to Robert Tai, it was Kwok Choi this time around who had enough of Lung's egocentricities and confronted him.
I've thought this way. You could be right. There's something going on.
The outcome was that Lung would not return for any future Venom productions. 1 month after the release of Invincible Shaolin, the Venom's next project hit theaters. Touted as Return of the Five Deadly Venoms, this movie has been widely regarded as the ultimate Venoms experience. Chang Cheh's follow-up, though, is just a sequel in name, and released under the more appropriate title of Crippled Avengers, aka Mortal Kombat for the Western fans. The plot? The family of a once famed hero is brutally attacked, and the son is permanently disabled when his arms are severed. Despite slaying the attackers, the emotionally scarred hero, played by Shaw alum Chen Quan-tai, cannot forget these atrocities. Years later, his amputee son, Lu Fong, sports a pair of deadly iron hands in which he doles out forms of corporal punishment to any that get in their way. Their victims include Kwok Choi, a traveling salesman who is blinded, Lo Mang, the local blacksmith who is made deaf and mute for his defiance, Sun Chen, who has his legs hacked off, and Hero Fighter, played by Zheng Sheng, who attempts to avenge the threesome but becomes trapped by Chen and is severely brain damaged. Miraculously, though, his kung fu abilities are not affected. Now, despite these disabilities, they learn to enhance their other senses before seeking retaliation on the town's wicked oppressors. Lu Fong is the third leg of the opera trio, and in this film we get a true measure of the wickedness he was capable of. Normally cast as the quintessential nasty, his chameleon-like personas and weapons abilities made Lu perfect for the villainous roles the Venom movies required. He excelled as the Venom's antagonist in many of their undertakings, and played it off with imposing dignity or as a gloating maniac. The carnage in the Venom films, excessive and grim, does not disappoint in this outing with its assorted tortures, amputations, poisonings, etc. But Chang also continues to explore his themes of brotherhood and teamwork with some rather ingenious methods for the wounded to overcome their on-screen afflictions. Lo Mang shows off his impressive acting chop as the speechless blacksmith who delivers emotions without words. Paired with the blind Kwok Choi, the collaboration between them is a microcosm of why the Venoms as a group have excelled. Communication, solidarity, small pieces of a puzzle that when fit together make the big picture. Crippled Avengers was the only time we get to see Chen Quan-tai appear in a Venoms movie, and his perverse narcissism explored a side of him which we normally haven't seen before. The finale is an eye full of exhilarating fight choreography as our crippled Avengers take on a seemingly impossible task. But teamwork makes the dream work, and the Venoms triumph once again. Kid with the Golden Arm would be the last of the Venom films to include Wai Pei. He would move over to Golden Harvest and work with Sammo and Jackie Chan before fading from the scene. The title character of Golden Arm was our strongman Lo Mang. Typecast as the hothead or arrogant fighter, Mang postured himself with an unexpected charisma as he depicted the lead antagonist in a restrained fashion. As the top man of a killer gang, he chooses to dispatch his lackeys to do the fights until the epic climax.
It seems I'm a bit late here.
Hailing from the New Territories, the Southern-style fighter rarely used weapons on screen, and he proudly boasted that his golden arms were his weapons. Unlike the opera-based co-stars, Mang had a bona fide lineage to authentic martial artists. His Zigong was Grandmaster Lao San, a leading promoter of Chow Gar Praying Mantis. Mang's role here garnered him accolades, and much like Gordon Liu as the Master Killer, Mang would eternally be known to his fans as Golden Arm. Kwok Choi, who played Sheriff Haito, was also quite memorable as he adopted a quasi-drunken master a la Jackie Chan who, despite his non-stop state of drinking, seems one step ahead of everything. Kicker Sun Chen plays a dual role for this entry and received top billing, but oddly is limited to a speaking role until the end fight sequence. And oh, what an ending! Whereas many Venom films wrapped with the three operatic-trained Venoms in battle, we have ourselves a Lo Mang, Sun Chen, and Kwok Choi finale. Sun Chen was the newest face to the industry when he joined the Venom's mob. A Taekwondo practitioner, he was possibly the best leg man at the studio during this time, but his impressive kicking techniques were equally balanced with his wild-card performances. Sun had the uncanny knack of playing both sides of the coin, hero and villain, which always kept the audience guessing.
My technique's kicking. I'm extremely good with my feet. You must have heard of the Iron Feet.
While most Venom films were confined to a soundstage, giving their productions a cloistered, otherworldly allure, this project was extremely theatrical in composition, with minimal sets, actors walking in and out of frame, even narration by the players. A rather comic book-like ensemble play with flamboyant weapons and characters. Its uniqueness has strangely made this film one of the best loved in the Venom's filmography. After Kid with the Golden Arm, a trio of films came out that spring and summer. The first was actually the pre-Venoms film Life Gamble that concluded back in the fall of '77 but had a delayed release. The next two were the Shaolin Rescuers in March and the Daredevils in June. The Rescuers would see Venom's mob regular Wang Li return to the crew after serving on several pre-Venom movies. This time, his participation increased as he became known as the sixth Venom to his fans. This movie was also the last time another Venom mob regular, Johnny Wang, appeared alongside the Venom cohorts. This, of course, doesn't include the previously lensed but not yet released Heaven and Hell or 10 Tigers of Kwantung. Another regular, Sun Chun Pao, would not return after his role as Long Axe in Kid with the Golden Arm. Sun appeared in 15 Venom and or pre-Venom flicks starting back in 1975 with Marco Polo. While Wang Li was promoted to Venom status, he actually wasn't the mob regular who appeared in most Venom or pre-Venom movies. No, that honor goes to Yu Tai-ping, who worked on 29 of these films, if you include Attack of the Joyful Goddess and Nine Demons, which starred Lu Fang and Zhang Sheng. With the completion of the Daredevils, Robert Tai, the man behind the fighting scenes, was offered a more lucrative deal in Taiwan. He packed his bags and headed back to Taipei, and so the position for leading action director became vacant. The opera trio worked the choreography on the Magnificent Ruffians, but at some point, a quarrel broke out between Lu Fang and Kwok Choi over who should direct the fight sequences. Kwok refused to work on their next project, Two Champions of Shaolin, and so to even things out, director Chang Che avoided the problem by taking Lu Fang out of the next Venom collaboration, Ode to Gallantry. After several months, the pair put away their differences and split the choreographing duties on future films. As far as Magnificent Ruffians goes, despite the growing tensions behind the scenes, all things seem to gel in front of the camera. Lu Fang, an affluent businessman and head of a security company, is his atypical, indestructible villainous role. He is keen in holding up the family's legendary tales of martial prowess, and his weapon of choice is the golden sword, made famous by his family before the Qing dynasty. Tough times had befallen his province, and with his business in decline, he seeks pleasure in a rather nefarious way by fighting and killing other martial artists. Lu Fang's weapon skills are a sight to behold as he wields a huge golden guando. His lethal maneuvers include Golden Wheel facing the sun, Clouds from the Nine Heavens, Clouds beneath the feet, and rotation of the Sun Wheel, and it's up to the Venom's Brat Pack to stop him. The pack include Zhang Sheng, Wang Li, and Sun Chen, who were superb as the ruffian trio who eat for free and then take a beating as their payment.
They my friends! How do you do?
They're joined by good guy Kwok Choi as they fall under the spell of Lu Fang's wealth. Unbeknownst to them, he is hatching a plot against a competing security company. Lo Mang is the focus of Lu Fang's intent, who once again shows off his comedic faculties as an owner of a competing security company who's henpecked by his mother and sister. Chang Che and Nigong's script is part Three Stooges comedy and part class warfare, in which the aristocratic Lu Fang plays with the life and death of laborers for his own amusement. Magnificent Ruffians isn't action-packed, and the violence is minimal, but that doesn't take away its charm. It's part of a trio of Venom movies that takes place in the early 20th century, and in each movie the Venoms play the same character types, the starving kung fu masters. With the arrival of the 80s, the first year of the new decade was Venoms heavy. Starting off with the long-anticipated Heaven and Hell, we would get two champions of Shaolin, the Flag of Iron, Rebel Intruders, Legend of the Fox, and lastly 10 Tigers of Kwantung, which would be the last released screen presence of all 6 Venoms, including Wai Pei. So, 10 Tigers. Is it truly a Venoms film, a pre-Venoms film, or is it just an ensemble piece like Ocean's 11? I lean towards the latter, though in a genre fraught with ridiculous mislabels, I don't think anyone will ever call this one Ocean's 10. Nonetheless, 10 renowned masters of the arts who existed in real life, though not all at the same time. Despite being a lover of Chinese history, Chang had a way of disregarding actual history in his work and did what he thought looked best. Here, we have a gathering of the generations in which his old team of Ti Lung, Fu Sheng, and Ku Feng appear with his latest talents, the Venoms. David Zhang and Chen Quan-tai. Chen was still on the outs with Shaw over his lawsuit, and David, well, some have speculated his absence stemmed from the feud he had with Ti Lung going back to the 1975 film The Emperor's Dagua. In early 78, Chang Che had an interview in which he discussed his old troupe, and he mentioned that the role didn't quite fit David, and so he was not included. Whether the director was being honest or just sidestepping the question, we will never know. In the film, each of the 6 Venoms represented one of the famed Kanto tigers. Kwok Choi portrayed beggar So Chen, who was a comical, carefree drunkard. Lu Fang played Su Hiho, who utilized the black tiger array techniques. Lo Mang had the part of Eagle Claw practitioner Iron Finger Chan. Sun Chen was featured as Wang Yinli, a disciple of Tibetan monk Sing Long, a master of the Lion's Roar style. Zhang Sheng was featured as Ironhead Chow and renowned for his skillful 3-section staff and cotton palm techniques. Finally, Wai Pei was Wang Qiying, the father to the renowned Wang Feihong. 2 key things occurred with the release of 10 Tigers. 1, Chang Che was continuing to implant several new actors into the Venoms clan. Cheng Tianqi, Chin Su-ho, and Chu Kerr were to become frequented faves, while 2 stalwarts were on the outs. After 10 Tigers, Lo Mang and Sun Chen would appear one last time with their Venom colleagues in Brave Archer Part 3. Soon would show up again solo in House of Traps and Ode to Gallantry, but with the films becoming more stylized and weapons heavy, it was the opera trio who seemed to take center stage. Brave Archer Part 4 would be the last Chang-Che directed film featuring all three, and after their indie film Ninja in the Deadly Trap, the inseparable threesome came to a conclusion. Despite the 20 or so productions as a team, it would seem the Venom's library was now set to slip into cinematic obscurity as new projects and actors had their turn in the spotlight. But such was not the case. Thanks to the theatrical releases in the West and their syndicated television appearances, the lore of the Venoms did not ebb but instead broadened. As the years passed, the Venom's formula of over-the-top characters and acrobatic martial mayhem evolved into a cultural phenomenon. Viewers from the next generations were hooked, and like a toxin in the bloodstream, the legend of the Venom spread to the far corners of the globe. It's true what they say, Poison Clan rocks the world.